It is a hot afternoon in the deep of summer. The children are wilting, the kitchen is warm, and someone is asking for something cold and sweet. So you think of the store, the tub of ice cream at $6 or $7, or the box of colored ices, or the sweet cold drinks in their bottles. Every one of them dear, and every one of them mostly sugar and water and coloring dressed up and sold back to you at a fine markup. Now I want you to sit with this. There was a time no family reached for the store when the heat came. A woman could make a cold, sweet, fruit-flavored ice for her children out of almost nothing: water, a little sugar, and a real piece of fruit from the bowl. No machine, no churn, no special thing to buy. It cost her pennies, and the children thought it a wonder. And it is every bit as good today as it was then. There is no mystery to a cooling summer treat. There never was. It is three plain things: water, a bit of sugar, and a real lemon or a handful of fruit, and a little patience, and not one of them is hard, and the whole of it costs less than $1. You very likely have all of it in your kitchen this minute. I am Annie Stoltzfus. I am Amish from Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. Now I will be honest with you, the way I always try to be. A fruit ice like this is not some secret of my people alone. It is an old, plain way that many families kept, back when a cold treat had to be made and not bought. And I will not dress it up as more than it is, but it is exactly the kind of make-it-yourself thrift my mother lived by, and her mother before her, and it belongs in any plain kitchen. Today I will show you how to make a real fruit ice for pennies, with your own two hands and no machine at all. One thing before I show you how. There is far more of these old ways than I could fit into a single video. So I gathered them into a book, 66 of them, the kitchen and the cooking pot and the breadboard and the rest of the house, with the honest savings written beside each one. It is at amishkitchenwisdom.com for anyone who wants the whole of it. I will not bring it up again. If you would like it, you know where to find it. Now let me show you how we made our summer ice. The first thing is the syrup, and it is the whole foundation. You take 2 cups of water and a half cup of sugar, and you put them together in a pot over the heat, and you stir until the sugar melts clean away and the water runs clear again. That is all a sugar syrup is. In the old days, nobody measured. My mother did it all by eye, and it came out right every time. But a half cup of sugar to 2 cups of water will start you well, and you can sweeten it more to your own taste. Let it come to a gentle boil so the sugar is good and dissolved. That takes but a few minutes. And a watched pot never boils, as the old saying goes. So set it on and go about your work a moment. Then take it off the heat. And here is a small but important thing. Let it cool right down before you go on, for warm syrup poured over your fruit will dull the fresh, bright taste you are after. Sweet water, cooled. That is the beginning of every fruit ice there ever was. The second thing is the flavor. And here is where you use the real thing and not the false. A lemon, a lime, a handful of berries crushed, a ripe peach mashed soft. Whatever the summer has given you. For a plain lemon or lime ice, you squeeze the real fruit, not a bottle of coloring. The juice of about 3 lemons or limes, which comes to roughly half a cup of juice. It is a bit more work to squeeze a lemon than to pour from a bottle, I will grant you. But it tastes of the fruit itself, and the bottle never will. Squeeze your juice and stir it into your cooled syrup, and then taste it. It should taste bright and sweet and a little tart. And mind this, make it a touch stronger and sweeter than seems quite right, for it will taste weaker once it is frozen, and a cold thing always tastes less sweet than a warm one. A few leaves of fresh mint torn in, if you have them, are a lovely thing. The third thing is the freezing, and this is the whole of the patience, for there is no machine in it, only you and the cold box and a little tending. You pour your sweet, flavored water into a shallow dish or pan. The shallower, the better, for it freezes quicker spread thin, and you set it in the freezer. And here is the one thing you must not skip, the very heart of the whole method. You cannot simply leave it and walk away, or it will freeze into one hard block of ice. And that is not what we are after. You must stir it as it freezes. Every hour or so, you take an ordinary fork and you scrape and stir the whole dish, breaking up the ice that has formed round the edges and folding it back through. The first stir, at about an hour, it will still be watery. Back it goes. At 2 hours, it begins to thicken and turn to slush. At 3, it is harder and harder to stir. And by about 4 or 5 hours of this scraping every little while, you have a dish of soft, fluffy, flavoured ice. Light and grainy, like fresh fallen snow, and cold as anything. That scraping is the whole secret. It is what makes it fluffy instead of a solid block, and it is why you need no machine at all. The fork is your machine. Now let me take a moment, for this is where it comes together. 2 cups of water and a half cup of sugar, melted into a syrup and cooled. The juice of about 3 real lemons stirred in, made a touch stronger than you think, for freezing dulls it, poured shallow into a dish, and frozen, and scraped with a fork every hour until it turns to soft, cold snow. 4 or 5 hours in all, most of it just the waiting. 3 plain things, and an afternoon of small tending, and you have a cooling treat for the whole family for less than the price of a single bottle of pop. And here is the thing to carry with you. There is no money in teaching folks to make their own summer ice from sugar and a lemon. The store would far rather sell you the tub and the box and the bottle all summer long, year upon year. Nobody runs an advertisement telling you that a cold, sweet treat is 3 cents of sugar and a piece of real fruit and a fork, because there is nothing in it for them to sell. So the knowing of it got quiet, the way the good plain ways do when there is no profit in the saying of them. Back when families were poor in money, but rich in the knowing of how to make a little go a long way, and a scraped dish of lemon ice on a hot day felt like heaven itself. So this week, when the heat comes and the children are asking, do not reach for the store. Melt a half cup of sugar into 2 cups of water. Squeeze 3 real lemons into it once it has cooled. Pour it in a shallow dish, and set the children to scraping it with a fork every hour until it turns to snow. Let them make it themselves. Half the joy of it is in the watching and the waiting. Then tell me in the comments, what cold treat did your mother or grandmother make in the summer heat before there was money for the store? The little ways families kept cool and kept happy are exactly the kind of thing that gets lost when nobody writes them down. And I read every one. Until then, keep the plain things close. They were never half so simple as they looked.